The people of Florence still consider their community a separate community, away from Omaha.
Florence, not Omaha.
The people of Florence are very devoted to the community, and I admire it.
And the key word is community, not city, community, because it's all about people helping people, and that is a community.
We're not the new boys on the block. We've been around a while, and we're proud of it.
The city of Florence, a northern suburb of Omaha, played an important role in the early history of Nebraska. It boasts the site of Nebraska's oldest bank, oldest cemetery for people of European descent, oldest standing gristmill, and arguably the oldest city in the state. Florence, along with Nebraska City, Bellevue, and Omaha City, owe their very existence to the lures of the far west. At various times, explorers, fur traders, missionaries, military men, gold seekers, farmers, and promoters all made their way through these cities. Florence vied with the other river communities to be the most prominent and prosperous. Each city wanted the railroad bridge that would cross the river and allow the Transcontinental Railroad to span the country. Each city wanted the territorial capital. Omaha City would eventually win out, and Florence would be annexed by the city of Omaha in 1917.
Spaniards like Emmanuel Lisa in the late 18th century, the 1780s and 90s, already were in this area for fur trading.
The early fur traders met and worked on agreements with the Native Americans to trade goods for furs.
Frenchmen out of the newly settled St. Louis also began going up the Missouri River to this area to make contact with various Indians for the fur trade. And if you go north on the River Road to the last exit for the entrance to Hummel Park, you will see a stone marker that says the trading post of Jean-Pierre Cabinet. That trading post now sits almost a mile from the river. At the time, that's where the river was. Just look at the escarpment along the river road. So that's where Cabinet's post was. They are not forts. They are not enclosed, they are not fortified, which tells you that you have good relation and peaceful relations with the Indians. When you go further north into the Dakotas, in Sioux territory, you'll notice that the American fur trading posts are forts, which indicates, of course, that while fur trading is going on, you just don't feel as safe doing it.
In 1804, Lewis and Clark traveled along the banks of the Missouri and even camped nearby. There is speculation that William Clark traveled in the area to the highest elevation in Florence.
It was at the Florence area that Lewis and Clark first met the first Frenchmen. Now, they had seen Indians all the way along from St. Louis, but it was at the Dodge Park area where Lewis and Clark talked to the French trader to arrange a meeting with the Indian tribes of this area, which would have been the Omaha, the Pawnees, and the Poncas.
The Indians used the river also for transportation and also for water and for life. They consider the Missouri River a sacred river, a grandfather.
The Missouri River was the most prominent geographical feature in the area. It was an obstacle to cross, a transportation system, and a food and water supply.
The river bottom in the Florence area today is a lot different than it was during the time of, let's say, Lewis and Clark, or the pioneers that came here in the 1830s, 1850s. The river was much wider than it is today. It's about 3 times wider, but the velocities are very similar. The river also was somewhat shallower in terms of ability to get transportation or wagons across the river in the Florence area, because there was a rock shelf in that area.
That rock shelf was to be early Florence's opportunity to become Nebraska's first city. In fact, the Florence Courier proudly boasted, "We would rather be in the right place on Rock Bottom than have the capital of the territory." The early Florence leaders felt that because they had the best ferry crossing across the narrowest part of the river, with a rock shelf to anchor a bridge, that this would be the spot of the first bridge. The bridge would make Florence the preeminent city on the west side of the Missouri. Little did they know that Omaha City, with its more influential business community, would lure the bridge south and establish Omaha City as the most important community. It would be another 100 years before Florence would get their bridge.
The site of the Mormon Bridge, that was the site of the northernmost ferry that the Mormons established across the Missouri, and really the one that I understand was used the most, even by the Oregon Trail people, the 49ers. That was the main crossing route over the Missouri for years.
1846 was the year the Mormons arrived from Nauvoo, Illinois, in their trek across the country. In an agreement with the U.S. government and the Indian tribes of the area, the Mormons were allowed to build a settlement in Indian Territory on the west side of the Missouri. They would be allowed to stay there for 2 years. The first site chosen, called Cutler's Park, was near Mormon Bridge Road in Young Street, where Forest Lawn Cemetery is at today. This land, however, was disputed land between 2 tribes.
Chief Big Elk of the Omaha tribe told Brigham Young that if he would come up over these 2 bluffs east to this tableland that was by the river, that was his land, undisputed land of the Omaha tribe, and you could build your settlement there and there wouldn't be any problem.
The Florence area was perfect for the Mormon travelers. It had a good ferry crossing point across the Missouri. 2 small creeks provided water, and there was plenty of timber in the area. The Mormons platted the town. They built shelters, a common corral, and a mill. But before they knew it, winter was upon them, and they needed one more thing: a cemetery.
First winter was very tough on them. They lost 1 in 3 babies, and 1 in 12 in total passed away in the winter of 1846-47. So some say as many as 600 are buried there. There's one original headstone in the cemetery, a young lady by the name of Amy Porter. Amy died and was buried actually in the grave with her twins.